Lunia, a despised daughter in a noble family, tries to escape her tragic fate. She marries the cursed and ugly Duke Cronoa, hoping to escape her miserable life. However, their marriage lasted only for one loveless night. Then Lunia vanished from Hades' life without a trace. She didn't know that she was already pregnant with Hades' child at that time. 7 years later, just as Hades finds Lunia, he discovers not only Lunia, but also 2 children whose existence he never knew of. As old feelings slowly rekindle, the story begins to unravel the secrets of the past. Will their lives find happiness? And what kind of conflicts will arise? Please follow Nezuko Recap to watch this story. This is a miracle bestowed by the gods. In the dark of night, white roses vie to bloom. An unwelcome person, hated by all, could actually help someone through a divorce, even if the groom hated her to the bone and wanted to kill her. The Virgilio Empire, a rich land by the sea. The bloodline of the ducal house of Cronoa is known as the Hounds of the Empire, a family that commands mages and knights with powerful magic. He is also known as the king of the Underworld, a symbol of fear to others. It is said that when the head of the family turns 30, he will turn into a madman, eventually ending in death and destruction. The only way to break the curse is to marry the divinely chosen bride. A group of people bearing a message walked in. Just then, a voice echoed in the room. Lunia. Nike pinned her against the wall. So you were here? Do you like playing hide and seek that much? An awkward expression appeared on Luina's face. Brother, is something the matter? He frowned slightly. For a woman, your body is still so stiff. Nike, the eldest son of the house of Count Persephone. He roughly grabbed Lunia's face. It seems it's time to teach you how to seduce men. Now smile. If you please me, I'll dote on you. With a sad expression, Lunia thought, even though we're half-siblings, he's panting as he gets close to his own sister. It's disgusting. She turned her face away. You are the one who will inherit the title of Count, so I can't have strange rumors between us. So please, stop paying attention to me. Nike revealed a sinister smile. Strange rumors? He slammed his hand against the wall. If a pet dog licked my hand, would any idiot dare to spread rumors about me and that dog? Nike cornered her. No matter what I do to you, no one in this house cares. He advised, so don't say such disrespectful things. Hearing this, Luina's eyes widened as she pondered. No one in this house cares about me, but maybe someone somewhere else will care. A maid rushed in. Miss Lunia. She hastily delivered the message. The Count is looking for you. Oh my goodness. Miss Lunia and young Master Nike. Count Persephone announced happily. Lunia, good news. This is an order from the Emperor. He read the announcement. You have been chosen as Hades' marriage partner. Hearing this news, Luina was stunned. It's Duke Rhinoa. Luina thought in confusion marriage. The Countess voiced her feelings. I know, but I can't refuse. He smiled meaningfully. Were you saying, silly girl? Who would refuse such a good thing? It's good enough that you're allowed to live. She had always been treated as a superfluous child, her late mother having married into this family for a mere political alliance. Before Luina was born, her father already had a lover and an older son. That lover later became the concubine, unlike her brother who was set to inherit the family estate. So Luina was just a burden, a person with no reason to exist. If I get married, I can leave this house. Nike frowned slightly, then said loudly, I object. He glared and shouted, giving my sister to that terrifying king of the underworld. He looked at Nike with a cold gaze. Nike, since when did I need to ask for your opinion? The choice of the bride is a decree the priest received from the gods. The Countess smiled with satisfaction that I can get rid of this troublesome daughter and earn the Emperor's gratitude. It's wonderful. The Count smiled brightly and reassured. People fear the king of the underworld because his power is too great. But if we become family, there's no need to be afraid. He looked directly at her and asked, Lunia, do you understand? She hesitated for a moment. Yes, I will accept. A man in formal attire sat in a carriage. The carriage slowly entered the gates. Marrying the king of the underworld of the Cronoa family was a very special affair. High heels touched the ground lightly, so much so that throughout the entire engagement, the two had never even met. A voice announced, Lunia Persephone has arrived. A magnificent castle was shrouded in cold blackness. It was a moonless night. The only attendees were the castle's retainers. Dressed in her wedding gown, Luina thought, this is like marrying a demon from hell. That's fine too. If I had stayed in that house for the rest of my life, who knows what would have happened? Hades approached leisurely. I'm sorry if I startled you. I am Hades Chronoa. His expression was serious, but with a hint of loneliness. She looked up blankly. This person is the king of the Underworld, Hades. Luina thoughtfully rolled her eyes. And also my husband. She bowed lightly. I am Lunia of the house of Count Persephone. I will do my best for the family. Awkwardness was evident on Luina's face. I'm so shocked. How can he be such a handsome man? Contrary to her expectations that I was prepared for him to be like a demon. Hades retorted, do your best. Hades pulled her closer. Come here, Lunia. Her mind was in a whirl. How long has it been since someone held my hand? Luina's face gradually turned red. The way he speaks is also polite. For so long, I've been called superfluous, but now I will be Hades' wife. She told herself, I will prove to them that I am needed in this family. Helios made a suggestion. You can wear this ring or not, but as the Duchess, I think it's best you wear it to avoid gossip. Luina couldn't help but feel confused. Huh? What do you mean? He closed his eyes and sighed. Then I'll be direct. Left with no choice, Hades spoke plainly, I don't intend to spend the whole night with you here. Hearing this, she was confused, meaning, you mean a sexless marriage? Hades nodded in confirmation. That's right. Explanation. A sexless marriage refers to a contract marriage without physical relations. This is a path often chosen by clergy or warriors. She continued, but Lord Hades, the Chronoa family is an outstanding family in both magic and swordsmanship. Its power said to be equivalent to half the empire. However, for possessing such powerful magic, they were cursed. And that power is also passed down through the curse of a great mage. When a head of the family surpasses the age of 30, they go mad and die a tragic death. The only way to break the curse is to spend a night with the divinely chosen bride and have child. Hades forcefully threw the bridal bouquet on the table. Hades gave an option. If you don't agree, you can return to the Count's house. Without a second thought, she decided, no, I don't want to go back to that house. Please let me stay here. Hades said with a cold face, if that's what you want. But I have no intention of dating or embracing you, so don't have any hopes for me. Luina began to worry. If things go on like this, he will die. I am the only one who can break Lord Hades' curse. He read the documents carefully, while Luina watched quietly from a distance. Luina blamed herself, but I can't do anything here. Am I still that superfluous person? Her eyes couldn't hide her sadness. For so many years, I've been called useless, and I'm the only one who can break the curse. Hades looked up blankly. These flowers. She hurriedly explained, I put those flowers there. I'm sorry for acting on my own. Hades replied coldly, it's fine. This is good too, because we have guests coming today. She realized, I didn't notice this. Luina couldn't help but feel grateful. Thank you for your advice. She voiced her feelings. Lord Hades has never held me. Even though we are not a real couple, I don't want him to die at the young age of 30. Luina stood, watching his departing back, so I really want to help him. I didn't expect Lord Hades to be so stubborn. The priest felt disgusted. I thought he would change his mind as death approached, but there seems to be no sign of him being swayed. The priest advised, the destruction of the Chronoa family also means the destruction of the empire. We must have a child. The priest continued, that is Miss Lunia's mission. The priest asked, you understand clearly? Hades was gently sipping his tea. She hesitated. It's okay even if there are no feelings. Hades' eyes were deep, reflecting struggle and unspoken emotions. Pain was clearly visible on his face, but at least someone was there. Luina secretly resolved to help him. A golden light shone from within. Luina's gaze was hazy. If I can help him, she thought vaguely, I can also live on, holding that memory as a source of pride. Luina recalled. That night, 7 years ago, I escaped from the ducal mansion. When I came to my senses, fear began to rise. She blamed herself that I broke the agreement of a sexless marriage. Under the priest's orders, I secretly drugged his drink. If I were discovered and eliminated by him, I would understand. Luina decided to leave, so I can't stay there anymore. She was confident in her decision. However, I don't regret it. Luina believed in her heart. I received a wonderful gift. The boy in Helios ran over brightly, Mom. She showed a happy smile. Helios, Uranus. They're my lovely Helios, sun, and Uranus, sky. I've finally found a place to anchor. The boy said, The headmaid is calling for you. A guest is looking for you. Luina asked in confusion. Is it the tailor? I contacted them to mend the Lord's coat. The boy realized, oh, so that's it. Urano's gaze was suspicious. He doesn't look much like a tailor. The figure of a man stood waiting at the door. Seeing that person, Luina froze instantly. His gaze was icy. Lunia. Hades stood looking at her. I've finally found you. Seeing Hades, she was stunned. Lord Hades. Helios watched curiously. Who is that uncle? She swore to herself, don't let the children know he is their father. He is a duke from a neighboring country. I've known him for a long time. Luina suggested. How about you two go back to the mansion first? She wanted to hide this. Don't let the children know. Luna's face was filled with worry. On that night I spent with Lord Hades. I saw it. Luna, carrying a large bag, ran anxiously through the cold night. She collapsed, her body giving way as she fell. The bag hit the ground hard, causing the ring inside to pop out of its box. Her expression was blank. Luina picked up the ring. This ring actually has the crest of the Chronoa family. Helios frowned uncomfortably. Only you. I cannot forgive. Cannot forgive. The boy rushed forward with a sword. Me too. I won't forgive either. The two faced each other, and flames erupted. A red light suddenly shone fiercely on Luina's left chest. The two boys representing the Chronoa family confronted each other. She gradually fell into confusion that I'm not sure if this is just a dream or a vision, or a part of what's to come in the future. But I was pregnant with twins. The blood of the Chronoa family carries extraordinary magic. She comforted herself, so thanks to that power, it's not strange that I dreamed of this. These children, Luina felt worried. If they get involved with the Chronoa family, they will surely hate each other. So no matter what, I must hide the fact that I had children. A magnificent castle appeared under the blue sky. She could barely speak. I'm so glad you're safe and sound. Luina secretly felt relieved. If he hadn't spent the night with me, perhaps Lord Hades would have gone mad at 30 and been disposed of by the Empire. I was really lucky. A cold glint flashed in his eyes as Hades complained. You did something unnecessary. Her eyes widened, and she froze in astonishment. Yes. Hades looked uncomfortable. Did I ever ask you to save me? She was stunned. Lord Hades. Seeing this, she was confused. It seems you're not happy about being alive. Hades questioned, and why did you run away from the ducal mansion? Anger was evident on Hades's face. Luina's eyes widened. He's angry. She felt scared. Is he here to punish me? Luina's voice stammered. A disobedient bride would bring shame to the Duke. Who knows, he might even kill me. Hades cornered her against a tree. Why did you run away from me? His expression was stern. Answer me. Luina's voice trembled. That. She began to explain that I know the reason why you didn't want to spend that night with me. Hades flew into a rage. What is it? She thought, in high society, it's a famous story. Lord Hades Chronoa was the princess's childhood friend, and the two were very close. However, according to the church's prophecy, the one chosen was me to marry in order to break the curse. Luina voiced her feelings. You've always had someone else in your heart, haven't you? But for me, this was enough. She lamented, I feel proud because I saved him, and I also found meaning in my life. Luina gave a strange smile. Now that the curse is broken, please forget about me, and you can be with the princess without any worries. Two pairs of feet stepped forward. The princess is over here, Lord Hades. Helios and the boys ran up shouting, let go of our mom. Uranus raised the staff in his hand and pointed it forward. Whoever dares to hurt Mom, I will defeat them. She and Hades turned to look bewildered. Uranus was terrified as he was suspended in midair. The boy said loudly, what are you doing? Put him down. Adonis stood with his arms crossed, as expected of the head of the Chronoa family. Not only is his strength outstanding, but his magic is also extraordinary. The boy saw his savior, Lord Adonis. Please save my mom. Luina said hurriedly, don't misunderstand. I am the nanny of this mansion, and these children are... He said sternly, Luina is my wife. I came here to take their mother home. Hearing this, Luina was stunned. Take me home? How can this be? He frowned slightly. Luina couldn't help but wonder, why would Lord Hades say he's taking me with him? She began to calculate, my children. I must not reveal that these two are Lord Hades' children. He asked, these children call you mom, right? Louisa answered nervously, no, I'm just a nanny. He said coldly, don't lie to me again. Her eyes became vacant when she heard, There won't be a second time. Hedius asked suspiciously. These two are your children, right? Luina lowered her head and replied, yes. A question was evident in his eyes. When did you give birth to them? Who is the father? Adonis suddenly interrupted. Duke Rinoa. That's enough. He suggested, please put the child down slowly, Lord Hades. Duke Rinoa, your reputation has spread throughout this country. Before him was a handsome face, Adonis Cornelia, the lord of the neighboring country. He was surprised. I didn't expect you were looking for Lunia. He began to reveal, Lunia originally lived in a convent, but we are currently protecting her. Since she didn't want to talk about having children, I didn't ask much. I just hope she and the two children can live in peace. Hadius's eyes seemed to contain 1,000 threads of emotion. He thought, then for now, we can put aside the question of who the father of these two children is. She was stunned when she heard, but Lunia is my wife. Hades made a decision. I will take her back to the Empire. Luina said hurriedly, please wait. She voiced her feelings. Because I left voluntarily, I thought we were already divorced. We were married for less than a year. We weren't even close enough to be considered a married couple. Then he grabbed Luina's hand. Do you really think so? Hades pressed on. You say we don't count as a married couple? She couldn't hide the awkwardness on her face. Adonis stroked his chin thoughtfully. Indeed, the stability of the Virgilio Empire can be said to be entirely due to the military strength and magic of the Cronoa family. Now that the princess's marriage is settled and the issue of succession is on the agenda, it's only natural for the Cronoa family to be in the spotlight. Adonis continued, if others were to see the scene of your wife running away, it would be hard for you to save face. Is that the reason? She turned her head in surprise. The princess's marriage? Adonis explained with a smile. The princess's marriage to our country has been decided, which means she will not inherit the Virgilio royal family. The other person is just the princess's cousin and is still young. So in the future, the Cronoa family will also be involved in the Empire's operations. Luina thought, Lord Hades is not marrying the princess anymore, so he plans to use me again. Not this time. She proposed, I will absolutely not let my two children get involved with the Cronoa family. Please forget me and marry someone else. He declared, I will not divorce you. I will take you and the two children back to the Empire. I will inform Count Persephone that you've had children. Luina thought, I heard that family is constantly fighting over money. He said that if you divorce me, you'll be dragged into an inheritance dispute, and the eldest son will see the two children as enemies. Are you threatening me? Hades repeated his promise. I said I would protect you and the two children. Introduction. The Chronosity family is the most important family in the Empire. Harming the honor of the Chronosity family is equivalent to tarnishing the Empire. Right now, I have no other choice. She said softly, I understand. The two children I saw in that prophetic dream were teenagers. Maybe I still have time. Luina decided. Then let's go back to the mansion and talk slowly so we can have a peaceful divorce. I'll go back. Adonis told her with concern. Just think of this place as your home. You can come back anytime. The two children had tears in their eyes, Lord Adonis. He smiled to smooth things over. I'm sorry for saying those meaningless things. Adonis suddenly changed his tone, but he started to bring up, didn't you say 3 years ago that as long as she was safe, it was enough? Adonis couldn't help but wonder, then why do you want to take her with you now? What exactly are you hiding? 2 carriages slowly drove away. The 3 of them wore expressions of heavy melancholy. Helios's face was sad. We have to go back to that scary uncle's house. I hate it there. The boy then comforted, it's okay, Helios. It's only temporary. Then we can go back to the Lord's mansion. Uranus discovered something new, and I heard that in the neighboring country, there's a sea just like in this book. Lavina's eyes were full of confusion. She looked on, puzzled, what book is that, Uranus? Uranus explained, I got it from Lord Adonis. It's a book about the legend of twins. The boy continued, we can't read it because it's an ancient book, but Lord Adonis read it to us. Luina opened the book and began to read. The cover of the book was printed with the words Sky Dragon and Sun Sword. Her gaze was puzzled, Sky Uranus and Sun Helios. What a coincidence. Luina began to read the book. In that world, there was heaven and earth. The sky was the home of dragons, while the earth was where humans lived. There was a man obsessed with dragons who became king and used the dragon's power to heal the land, while his wife passed away. After giving birth to twins, Anise clearly saw every feature on Luina's face. What's wrong? The 2 children divided the dragon's power and fought each other to prove they were the king. What is going on? Luina's hand gripped the book tightly. The boy and Helios smiled brightly. It's our story written here. The book says that the Chronoa family possesses physical strength and magic far beyond that of humans, and the twins of that family will fight each other just like in that prophetic dream. The wife died after giving birth to the twins. Luina thought that I have such a fate as well. Her face was downcast. Am I going to die soon? Uranos smiled innocently. I like the part where they defeat the dragon the best. She froze on the spot. What? Helios said excitedly. But I like the part where the doctor from the neighboring country helped the sick mother. There is no scene of defeating a dragon at all, and the story of the mother's death was also clearly recorded. It's completely different. However, Lord Adonis was telling the children a false story. Helio smiled shyly. That doctor seems like Lord Adonis. The boy agreed, that's right. Not only is he kind, but he also gave us the book. She praised silently, a gentle lie. Uranos smiled innocently. Mom, when we're in trouble, Lord Adonis will definitely help. The boy suggested, we should hurry back to Lord Adonis's mansion. Uranus gasped in awe, it's so big. The boy blushed, He told her, you can use the east wing as you please. Luina looked around the Chronoa family's mansion. She thought, compared to 7 years ago, nothing has changed. The three of them walked down the wide corridors of the palace. The crest of the Chronoa family hung on the wall. Luina subconsciously turned to look the crest of the Chronoa family. Once involved with this family, then the mother will die and the twins will kill each other. I must leave this house as soon as possible. Helios opened the door gently. Is that you? Luina felt guilty. I'm sorry it's so late, but I want to go back to where I used to live tomorrow. Please find a way to annul this marriage as soon as possible. Confusion was evident on Luina's face. I was wrong. She blamed herself that I shouldn't have entered this room. That memory. Luina lowered her head. What happened that night? He said softly, Lunia. She suddenly remembered. I looked up at him just like this that day. Hades looked at her with a deep and thoughtful gaze. Then he said, let's go outside to talk. Even to my confidants, there are things I can't say openly, because in the mansion, I don't know who might be eavesdropping. Currently, I am both the commander-in-chief and a powerful minister of the state. Because the crown prince is too young, I must assist him. But that's not the case. Hades confided, I will inherit the throne and become the emperor. He looked at Luina gently, and you will no longer be the duchess, but will become the empress of this country. Luina thought, Lord Hades will become the emperor. She thought, and I will become the empress. Luina hesitated. Wait. She recounted, yesterday, I learned that the princess will marry into a neighboring country, but her cousin will become the crown prince. Hades said grimly, people still believe that the Chronoa family is the pillar that supports this empire. He recalled, however, His Majesty the Emperor once said this, Duke Chronoa. The Emperor's voice rang out, I hope you will inherit the throne. He said gently, even if we make a young prince the king, it will only create an opportunity for other kingdoms to attack. The Emperor affirmed, the stability of this empire is maintained by the military strength of the Chronoa family. Everyone knows that you hold the power in this royal palace. He said gently, so please become the emperor. This is the wish of both myself and the people. Luina turned around. So that's the real reason you wanted me to come back? She said with a choke in her voice, if you could divorce and marry someone else, why does it have to be me? The Chronoa family becoming the emperor, could it be that the reason the twins fight each other is to compete for the succession of the Chronoa family? Luina told herself, I must prevent that future. She expressed, 7 years ago, thanks to marrying you, I was able to leave the Persephone family, and for that, I am grateful. A feeling echoed in her heart. I once wanted to save him, who would die at 30. The feeling of saving someone once made me happy. Luina instantly thought of Uranos and Helios. But now I have 2 children to protect, so I can't stay in this mansion. She choked out, I cannot be the emperor's wife. Hades looked at Luina, as if pondering something. She looked at him, no, even if you don't become the emperor, it's still the same. I don't think I can be your wife. Hades said slowly, the fact that I can become the next emperor is all thanks to breaking the curse of the Chronoa family. He said sternly, it was you who broke the curse. Hades thought, puzzled, then why are you refusing so adamantly? Luina's eyes were sad. My marriage to you is like, she said, an arrangement by the church. Luina quickly turned to leave, and you were under the influence of the curse. So now, I have fulfilled my role. He reached out, wanting to catch up to Luina. Her voice suddenly choked up and Luina said, "Those two children are not your children." Hades fell silent, a trace of sadness on his face. She said softly, "I have someone else in my heart, so I'm not worthy of being the Emperor's wife." Luina left, and he urgently wanted to confirm, "Is that true?" Memories flooded back. "Don't lie to me again. There won't be a second time." Luina clutched her shawl, trembling. She said resolutely, "Is that true?" Luina asked coldly, "May I return to the mansion now?" Hades reached out a trembling hand, as if wanting to embrace the person before him. But he withdrew his hand. "All right." After getting his consent, she left quietly. Hades suddenly called out to Luina, this flower field. Hearing his call, Luina turned back in confusion. He couldn't bring himself to say more. "It's nothing." Adonis Cornelia had once asked Hades, "Why did you bring her back?" He clenched his fist, questioning himself. What was it all for? Uranus's voice cheered. "Mom's back." Helios was happy. "Great. It seems the Duke isn't here. What a relief." The boy wondered, "What should we do starting tomorrow?" The other urged, "First, we need to get our hands on weapons." Helios said worriedly, "Uranus, I'm not good with a sword." The boy comforted him. "It's okay, Helios. You'll be in charge of scouting around the mansion and gathering intelligence." The two boys lay in bed, and Uranus announced, "I'll deal with the Duke. You, Helios, will be in charge of helping Mom escape." The boy said confidently, "With our perfect escape plan, we'll rescue Mom from that evil Duke." Luina showed a hint of sadness. The Kronoa family excels in both magic and swordsmanship. Even without showing themselves, they can control the entire Virgilio Empire. Helios's eyes were melancholic. "I asked someone like that going to marry Mom." The boy said dejectedly, "For me, the Lord's mansion is still the best." Helios gazed out the window. "I want to go back soon." Uranus chased Hades with a sword. "Stop." A voice shouted, "Demon Hades, I will defeat you." Uranus declared, "Let's duel." He dodged lightly, causing the boy to stumble. Hades asked, "How about it? You're Uranus, right?" He remembered, "You rushed in just like this yesterday, too." Hades' voice lowered. "I admire your courage." The boy blurted out angrily, "Shut up. I don't need your assessment. Just let my mom go." He easily parried Uranus's attack. Hades advised, "Your arm swings are too wide. Don't open your arms so much." He took the boy's sword. Hades instructed, "Eliminate unnecessary movements." He continued, "Then, quickly aim for your opponent's weak spot." After speaking, Hades demonstrated by pointing the sword at Uranus. He tossed the sword down again. The boy learned quickly, "Like this." Hades guided, "That's right. Next, lower your stance a bit more." Helios witnessed everything. He continued to teach Uranus, "Keep the tip of the sword at a medium height, so your opponent doesn't know if you'll swing from above or from which direction." The boy got into position and swung his sword forward forcefully. He quickly blocked the tip of Uranus's sword. Hades praised, "That's right, just like that." He commented, "Even an adult would have a hard time dodging that blow." Hades praised, "You learn quickly. You truly have a talent for swordsmanship." He asked curiously, "Did you take this sword from the decorations? Let me give you a more suitable one." The boy immediately replied, "No, thanks. I'm going to defeat you with this sword." As Hades left, he said, "If you want to do that, you'll have to practice every day." Meanwhile, in the garden, Luina was taking a walk with Helios. She noticed, "Helios, you don't seem happy." Luina asked the boy about the walk. "Is it okay that Uranus isn't coming with us?" Helios answered sadly, "I don't know. Uranus, maybe." She looked at the boy in surprise. "Did you two have a fight?" Helios suddenly cheered with excitement. "Wow." A beautiful field of flowers appeared before them. "It's a garden." The boy ran ahead. "Mom, the flowers here are so pretty. Can these flowers be made into jam?" Luina leaned against the door, pondering. "Come to think of it, the land has been tilled. It shouldn't be left to waste." She realized, "I didn't pay much attention yesterday, but there was no garden here 7 years ago." Luina wondered, who on earth planted it? A carriage suddenly drove up. The carriage stopped right in front of the mansion gate. Hades and Uranus walked over. The boy, clutching his sword tightly, called out, "Ah, Helios and Mom." She and Helios looked at the two of them in surprise. Uranus ran over, holding up his sword. "Look, this is my sword. Isn't it cool?" The boy proposed, "If you, Helios, want one too." Before he could finish, Helios shouted, "I don't want one." Uranus hurriedly chased after the boy. "Wait for me, Helios." Luina watched them with concern. She was flustered, her eyes evasive. "Ah, thank you." Hades asked, "Thanking me for the sword?" Luina agreed, "Yes, but I'll return it when I leave here." He immediately objected, "There's no need. That sword belongs to the child now." Hades told her, besides, he truly has a talent for swordsmanship. He wanted to confirm one more time, are those two children really not my children? As evening fell, another carriage stopped in front of the mansion. Nike Persephone's voice rang out. Luina is at the Chronoa mansion. He frowned, is that true? The butler replied, it is definitely Miss Luina. The Duke, Nike Persephone said coldly, it's just a marriage arranged by the high priest anyway. She'll probably get a divorce when the time is right. His gaze lingered on a photo of Luina. Even after turning 30, he's been content not to bring Luina back. Nike Persephone's hand was trembling. He even made up a story about her recuperating in a neighboring country when he was actually hiding her in the mansion. He said through gritted teeth, I must bring Luina back. Nike Persephone's voice was filled with rage. She is the daughter of the Persephone family, and my sister. At this moment, Luina was standing before Hades. Those two children are really not your children. He quietly waited for her answer. Luina answered awkwardly, yes, they're not. Hades was silent for a long time. She avoided him. Hades spoke as if still holding on to a sliver of hope. You've been lying constantly, so I can't believe you. Luina lowered her head, thinking to herself that she actually remembered. When Lord Hades and Uranus stood together, I was so surprised because the two of them looked so much alike. Luina said decisively, Lord Hades, I was your wife for only 1 year. She sighed softly, but that was 7 years ago, and for only one night. Luina's voice lowered, as if reminding herself, on that one day, 7 years ago. She slowly concluded, as your bride, my duty was to break your curse, and I have already fulfilled it. Before Luina could leave, Hades quickly grabbed her hand. Wait, he said with a sense of loss. Those two children, can you prove they are not my children? Luina was unfazed. Then Lord Hades. She retorted, can you prove that they are your children? The question stunned Hades. Luina shook off his hand, that if you can't prove it, let's get a divorce. I don't plan on staying here forever. She left, cold and decisive, each step growing heavier. Luina lingered by the way the flower field behind the mansion last night. She remembered the vibrant field of flowers. Luina turned back and asked gently, who planted it? Hades smiled faintly, do you like it? Hearing this, she looked surprised. That night, outside the garden, Helios was hiding nearby. Uranus is a traitor. The boy sat dejectedly by the fence. How could he be laughing and talking with that evil duke? He promised he would save Mom. Tears welled up in Helios's eyes. I want to go back. The boy's voice trembled slightly. Back to Lord Adonis's mansion. Suddenly, someone gripped the fence tightly. You kid. A cold voice said, I have something to ask you. Startled, Helios stood up. Who is it? Instead of answering, the man asked, are you a servant's child? Nike Persephone's sharp gaze fell on the bee. Oh, why? Is there a woman named Luina here? Helios looked at him, trembling as he backed away. Yes, what about it? Nike Persephone deduced. So it's true. He stepped closer and asked, doesn't she take a walk tonight? Is her walking time fixed? The boy said, confused, I don't know. Nike Persephone said, it's so pitiful that she's being locked up by the Duke like that. He feigned thoughtfulness that we can't just leave her be. If this continues, who knows what might happen. The room door opened gently. Uranus asked, Mom, has Helios been here? The boy stood behind the door, hugging a pillow. Luina was surprised. Uranus was worried. It's time to sleep, but he hasn't come back yet. The boy added, he seems to have his watch, so he should know it's late. She felt uneasy. You haven't seen Helios? At that moment, Helios was hurrying across the courtyard. Nike Persephone's words echoed in the boy's mind. It's so pitiful. If this continues, who knows what might happen? Helios told himself, I really have to do something now. The boy looked into the distance. From the mansion window, I can see the village on the other side of the forest. There's no other way but to take a carriage and call Lord Adonis to come. Helios looked at the watch in his hand. I read in a book that a watch can be exchanged for gold. The boy clutched it tightly. Even though it's a gift from Lord Adonis, it's okay if it's for Mom. Unaware, Helios tripped on a stone. The boy cried out in surprise. Helios was shocked to find himself falling into a pit. The boy panicked. I'm falling. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Helios was frantic. I can't grab onto anything. A thought flashed through the boy's mind that a crack in the wall or a rock below. Helios cried out in fear. It's gonna hurt if I hit it. I hate this. I'm so scared. Somebody save me. The watch also floated and fell. Please stop. Suddenly, a faint light enveloped the boy's body. Helios landed gently, unharmed. The boy's eyes widened in surprise. Helios wondered, is my body floating? A voice called out, I see him. He's here. I'll pull him up now. Hades appeared, panting as he reassured the boy, don't be afraid. Just stay still. Hades then used magic to pull Helios up. The boy was still amazed. Duke Cronoa is saving me. He gently caught Helios. Luina ran over anxiously, calling out, Helios. She gasped for breath, that I'm so glad you're safe. Luina clenched her fists and cried, that I'm so glad. Hades watched her with concerned eyes. He reached out his hand as if to comfort her, but at that moment, Helios immediately rushed into Luina's arms. Mom. She hugged the boy. Helios stammered that the Duke. The boy said gratefully, thank you for saving me. He denied I wasn't the one who saved you. Hades explained calmly. As soon as I ran over, the child was already slowing down because of magic. That's why I was able to save him. He said thoughtfully, perhaps that magic was his. Hades affirmed, you have a talent for magic. Helios's eyes widened. I have a talent for magic. The boy thought, come to think of it, I did pray earnestly just now for it to stop. He instructed, there are many deep pits around here, so it's dangerous. From now on, walk slowly and carefully. Luina thought, Helios has a talent for magic. Swordsmanship comparable to a knight, and magic like a celestial dragon, just like it's written in the books. She walked slowly, her mind filled with thoughts. Luina looked at Hades' back, and this is also the same as the power passed down in the Cronoa family. A thought arose in her mind. The children really are Lord Hades' children. Helios noticed Luina's thoughts. The boy said softly, Mom, I'm sorry for worrying you. It's because I wanted to tell Lord Adonis to come pick us up. That's why She looked at her son. He's only 7, and he was planning to return to the neighboring country all by himself. Luina held Helios's hand tightly. He must have thought a lot to do this. She looked at Hades with determination. It doesn't matter if they are related by blood. I must get a divorce as soon as possible for the children's sake. A new day began. During the day, the butler said politely, excuse me, Miss Luina, you have a gift. Luina was surprised for me. She approached and picked up the letter sent by Lord Adonis. At that moment, Luina froze unconsciously. She was startled when she recognized the sender's name. It's my brother. In the letter, Nike Persephone wrote, I heard you were recuperating, but you seem to be well. You will be attending the Persephone family's anniversary party soon. He also instructed, the attire has been prepared. I will send a carriage to pick you up on that day. Luina thought. There was another page. The next line read, but you don't seem to be getting along well with the Duke. Nike Persephone wrote, if you want a divorce, I will help. I will save you from the Cronoa family. She stood there, thinking about the letter's contents. That dreadful family, I don't want to see them again. But for a moment, Luina hesitated. But if he helps me, her gaze wavered. Then I can divorce Lord Hades. Elsewhere in the palace, Hades' voice was heard. You're Helios, right? The boy turned and looked at him. Hades asked, do you want to learn magic? He proposed, I won't force you, but if you're interested, I will teach you. A memory flooded Helios' mind. You have a talent for magic. The boy was a little scared and hesitant. Helios lowered his head and said, I'd really like to, but I don't want to be taught by the Duke. Hades turned and put his hand in his pocket. Yes, that's so. The boy looked up. He took something out. In that case, I'll give you this. Helios took a shiny gold key. A key. Hades explained, there's a library on the first floor of the West Wing. There are books about magic there. He added, so feel free to read them. Luina read the letter carefully. Soon it will be the Persephone family's anniversary party, and you must attend. Nike Persephone had sent her a pink dress, which made Luina sigh. She glanced at the gift. The things he sent looked like a dress and accessories for a young girl. Luina lowered her eyes slightly. Although I'm married into the Cronoa family, my family still doesn't know I've had children. A thought arose in her mind, so he still thinks I'm young. Luina walked outside thoughtfully. What should I do? There's been no progress with my divorce from Lord Hades. Maybe, as he said, if I use my family as a reason, I can convince him when we meet. She sat down, dejected, but I don't want to see him. Just then, a stack of books fell from Helios's hands. Oops. Luina was surprised to see the boy sitting on the ground. Helios, what's with all these books? Helios hugged the books awkwardly. The boy explained, these books were in the library. The Duke said I could read whatever I want. She was surprised to hear that. Helios quickly denied, I'm not close to him. It's just that Uranus is always practicing his swordsmanship, and I was bored, so Luina handed him the stack of books and said softly, Helios likes to read, doesn't he? Helios nodded shyly, yes. Luina smiled at the boy. She remembered, when I was at home, I also went to the library often. Luina thought, although I really liked to read, that wasn't the only reason. A harsh male voice called her, Luina. Nike Persephone angrily kicked a servant aside. Where did Luina go? Luina was hiding behind a bookshelf. He muttered, she's not here. I was planning to annoy her to relieve my boredom. She remembered Nike Persephone's furious face. He often went out to cause trouble and then took his anger out on his sister. Seeing that her brother had left, Luina breathed a sigh of relief. He's gone. She focused on the book she was reading. Wow. Luina gently touched the picture. This flower is so lovely. Her smile was a bit dreamy. I want to be a flower. He suddenly appeared behind her. Nike Persephone grabbed Luina's shoulder. You have to answer for being here. She recalled painfully, he always pushed his troubles onto me, destroyed precious things for various reasons, and bullied me relentlessly, but no one ever stood up for me. Luina's eyes dimmed. Owe him. I was just a toy for him to vent on. I've been thoroughly used. It probably doesn't matter if I use him a little now, right? She made up her mind that I've decided. Since he said he'd help, I'll take advantage of it. The scene changes to another time. Hades' turnaround. The Persephone family's anniversary party? Luina explained, it seems someone saw me and reported it to him. Since I'm back from my recuperation, I should go and see them. His voice was flat. I sent a congratulatory gift when he got married, but come to think of it, I haven't congratulated him on having child. I'll prepare a gift by the weekend, and you can deliver it for me. She was stunned. He's married. Hades replied calmly, for about 3 years. Luina thought, he's married and has a child. He's probably a bit more mature now. She bowed slightly, her voice hesitant. Then I know the 2 children. Suddenly, Uranus rushed over. The boy shouted, Hades, so you're here? I found you. Uranus accused. You were the one who said we had to practice every day. Luina turned. Uranus. Hades said gently, it's all right. I'll look after the 2 children. The boy pulled his hand, pushing him away. She suddenly thought, I knew it. For Uranus and Helios. A thought lingered in Luina's mind. So this isn't too bad of an environment, but she lowered her head. That if I continue to stay here. Luina momentarily imagined a scene of Helios and Uranus hating each other. Hades' voice interrupted her thoughts. You haven't been back home once since you got married, have you? Startled, Luina looked up at him. He continued slowly. I heard your relationship with him isn't good, so I'm a little worried. In any case, be careful. Her heart ached that I'm deceiving him. I'm actually going to see my brother to find a way to escape from here. Luina replied softly, yes. She thought to herself, so don't worry about me like that. A luxurious carriage stopped right in front of the Kronoa family mansion. Luina stood there, observing the carriage. She thought, the Persephone family's carriage. How nostalgic. Hades was somewhat regretful. He asked sadly, how long do you plan to be there? Luina answered hesitantly, I only plan to show my face before the party and stay until the evening. Hades' voice was sullen that I see. Luina looked at Uranus and Helios, who were happily waving goodbye to her. Luina told herself, for the children's sake, I must divorce Lord Hades. She got into the carriage. Luina looked out with sad eyes. Although I don't want to see him, but it's also dangerous to find a way to escape through correspondence. I'll just see him briefly. Sitting in the carriage, Luina was still thinking vaguely. If it's before the party, there will probably be many guests, and his wife will be there, so he probably won't dare to treat me like he used to. But come to think of it, in front of a magnificent mansion, Emma greeted Luina with a tense expression. Luina, thank you for coming all this way, Anno. She approached her cautiously. Welcome home. I'm Emma, Nike's wife. Luina thought, she seems to be a very shy person. She replied gently, I'm sorry for greeting you so late. I'm Luina. Luina still followed behind Emma. She was secretly relieved. Thankfully, she's not a difficult type like my stepmother, but I'm a little worried. Suddenly, someone called from behind her, Luina. She turned to look puzzled. Nike appeared with a cheerful expression. You finally arrived. You're late. Luina answered hesitantly. It's been a long time, brother. She was confused. Late? But I came in the carriage he sent. Emma reported cautiously. Lord Nike, father just called for you in the study to discuss something. He ignored Emma, walked up, put his arm around Luina's shoulder, and walked off. Hey, Luina, why didn't you wear the dress I sent? She was taken aback. Yes. He said, the letter said to wear it here. Luina said shyly, I tried it on, but it was too cute, so I was a bit embarrassed. Nike teased her. You're still as dull as ever, even though you're my sister. Luina, lift your face a little. Someone wants to see your rare face. She was a bit uncomfortable and gently reminded him, Brother, I think your wife said something just now. He said coldly, Emma's fine. If father really had something important, he wouldn't have sent that useless little thing to deliver the message. She stood there alone, saying nothing. In the banquet hall, many elegantly dressed guests were chatting and enjoying themselves. She remembered Nike's casual remark, useless, just like I used to be in this house. Nothing has changed at all. Suddenly, Nike and a middle-aged man walked over. He flattered, if it isn't Miss Luina, you've truly blossomed into a beautiful lady. Before Luina could reply, he answered for her, Baron, you praise her too much. She'll get a big head now. Luina felt uncomfortable. She said softly, Brother, I'd like to talk in a quieter place. Nike suddenly showed a sinister smile. I know. As soon as the tea party is over, the guests will gather in the West Hall, so wait for me in the East reception room. In the study, Count Persephone slammed the table in anger. He shouted, I told you to call Nike. The bishop himself is here, and you didn't even greet him. He angrily rebuked her in front of Emma. You can't even pass on a message properly. She was so scared she could only lower her head and endure it that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Luina happened to witness the scene through a crack in the door. She lowered her eyes, her face sad. It's amazing. Nothing has changed. The home I was born into is still as dark and cold as ever. In another room, Nike said, Sorry to keep you waiting, Luina. Seeing him, she stood up and walked forward. Brother, Luina replied politely. No, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Nike sat down comfortably. He smiled, but his eyes clearly held a mocking look. You sit too. Luina sat down cautiously. Then I'll get straight to the point about what you wrote in the letter. Why do you think my relationship with Lord Hades is not good? Nike replied, Because you're stupid and not suited for marriage. And I heard Hades is a weirdo too. More importantly, you've been married for 7 years and still have no children. Am I right? He brought his face close to hers. I've cleaned your room and prepared new dresses for you to wear while you're here. Feel free to use them. Luina froze, feeling awkward, and quickly refused, No, thank you, Nike suddenly gripped Luina's shoulders tightly. He said through gritted teeth, so noisy. His eyes now clearly held contempt. If you don't want your room, just come to mine. I don't really mind. Immediately after, he pushed her to the ground. You know perfectly well that I would never help someone like you for free, right? Luina was terrified that I've been tricked. She was horrified I have to go back to the mansion. Nike forcefully pressed her head to the floor. No. Luina cried out in pain. It hurts. He said grimly. The coachman has already gone back. She saw Nike's terrifying expression. What he wants is just to take me back like a pet. He must have felt terrible when he lost this toy 7 years ago, right? So it's understandable that he wants it back now by any means. He gently caressed Luina's lips, then taunted. It's pitiful, isn't it? Nike showed a mocking smile. Your husband doesn't love you. You must be very lonely, right? His face got closer and closer to Luina's. I've told everyone here today that the eldest daughter will be back to help starting tomorrow. His hands were not idle, taking the opportunity to grope. Besides, many people saw you here without a ring. Finally, the words he spoke shocked Luina. You will always be just my toy. Outside, footsteps grew closer and clearer. Luina looked towards the door, her eyes shining. A servant opened the door and walked in. He was startled and shocked out of Lord Nike. Luina quickly called for help. Save me. She looked eagerly at the male servant who had just entered. I never expected him to genuinely help me, only because he's someone who always causes trouble. So, if I could get some information, even about violence or money, I could use it as a reason for divorce because this family is not suitable for a royal marriage. He awkwardly avoided Luina's gaze. Nike slowly walked behind her. He chuckled. Night Patrol, thank you for your hard work. By the way, could I trouble you to stand guard for a while, so that no one can come here? The servant dared not object. He lowered his head in fear and obeyed Nike's command. Luina was in extreme panic, looking at him with an expression of utter despair. The room door closed again, plunging Luina into despair. It was a mistake to step into this house. In this house, he is absolute. He showed an amused smile, but that's right, that's the expression. The expression I've been longing for. She collapsed on the floor, unable to stand. Nike still stood there, laughing heartily. He taunted excitedly, give up, and come back to being my toy. Luina couldn't resist. No one in this mansion could stop him, and no one was on my side. From outside the door came the voice of the gatekeeper. repeatedly trying to stop someone. You cannot enter this room. Please stop. Meanwhile, inside the room, she and Nike both looked at the door in confusion. Hades burst in, opening the door directly. You told me not to come this way. That's as good as telling me to come this way. A flicker of surprise crossed Luina's eyes, but it was mixed with more anticipation. Nike was somewhat surprised by his intrusion. Hades Chronoa, why are you here? Hades looked down at Luina's legs and saw her skirt was pulled up above her thighs. He frowned, deeply displeased by the sight before him. Controlling his anger, Hades stood up straight to face him. Pardon me. My wife said she would be back by evening, but she has yet to return. I was worried something might have happened to the carriage. Nike answered awkwardly. No. He cut him off. It's getting late. I'll be taking her back. Hades gently bent down and helped Luina up. Nike hurriedly tried to stop him, shouting, Wait. Luina said she wants to divorce you, so from now on, I will take care of her. The moment the words left his mouth, he was met with an icy glare. Nike froze, not daring to say another word. Hades supported Luina out of the room. I'll hear that from her directly later. For now, I'm taking her. Outside the mansion, the sky had darkened at some point. Hades stopped in front of the carriage and said to Luina, Get in. He asked hesitantly, This behavior, has it always been like this? Luina paused, unsure how to answer. Luina couldn't help but clench her fists. I always thought it was just a malicious joke to bully me, but today felt different. She couldn't stop the tears from falling. Luina shyly wiped away her tears. I'm sorry. The moment I let my guard down, the tears just... Hades stood there quietly, watching her with a bitter expression on his face. Hades felt a pang of guilt. Could it be that my wish for her to remain my wife is what brought this suffering upon her today? A strong gust of wind blew past, preventing Luina from hearing clearly. She paused, He sadly evaded the question. It's nothing. The carriage began to pull away from the mansion. Nike looked down from upstairs, cursing, damn it. He angrily picked up a vase. This isn't fun at all. Aren't they on bad terms? Nike furiously smashed the vase on the floor. Emma flinched in fear. She felt a deep unease in her heart, muttering to herself, That woman. Emma walked slowly, each step seeming to vent all her resentment onto the flowers. If it weren't for that woman. The next morning, at the Chronoa family mansion, Uranos and Helios ran happily to Luina's side. Mama, when did you get back? The boy whispered in her ear. When you went out in the carriage, you could have secretly escaped to the neighboring country. Uranos patted his chest. We'd be fine. We'd take care of Lord Hades and follow you right after. The other boy nodded in agreement. Luina smiled gently, thinking to herself, escaping this mansion. I was so foolish to ask my brother for help, only to be deceived. In the end, I was saved by Lord Hades again. Luina felt very embarrassed. I was too selfish. He must think I'm a pitiful fool. And I even cried in front of him. She recalled Hades' considerate gesture from last night, when he kindly handed Luina a handkerchief. In the future, if you need to return to your family home, please use our carriage. If you don't mind, I'd like to accompany you as well. Is that all right? She stared at Hades' handkerchief. Luina gazed thoughtfully out the window. What should I do to make him forget me? The scene shifts to Hades, who is taking a walk in the mansion's courtyard. Hades sensed someone watching him and looked up towards her room. Luina was touched, her cheeks flushing. I don't want to hurt him. Hades looked in another direction, having noticed something. Luina also looked curiously in that direction. She was surprised. It's the Persephone family's carriage. Could it be my brother? Fortunately for her, Emma immediately stepped out of the carriage and was invited in. She stood before her, saying hesitantly, I'm sorry for visiting so suddenly without prior notice, Lady Luina. Luina awkwardly reassured her. It's all right, you. Emma, she thought. Why would his wife come to the Chronoa mansion? She said shyly, There's something I'd like to ask for your advice on, Lady Luina. Luina was stunned. Her curiosity piqued. Advice? Emma replied sadly, The truth is, I'm not having a good time in that household. So, besides you, Luina, I don't know who to confide in. In the drawing room, the butler placed 2 cups of tea on the table. She cried and complained. Perhaps it's because I still have many shortcomings, so I'm often scolded. What should I do to get better? Luina empathized, saying with concern, Emma. She unconsciously recalled the terrible past scenes. It's not her fault. That family has always been like that, enjoying tormenting their fiancés to prove how superior they are. Emma's appearance now was extremely fragile and pitiful. The last time you visited, Lady Luina. I couldn't convey my words to him properly, which made me feel so useless and deeply ashamed. She quickly comforted Emma. It's not your fault. She remembered that Lady Luina had reminded Lord Nike about my message. Luina had said hesitantly to Nike, "Brother, it seems your wife has something to say." Emma lowered her head and sobbed. I was so happy at that moment. Looking at Emma like that, she felt great sympathy and heartache. Emma said through her tears, "And I thought you were a gentle person." Luina replied softly, "Emma." She gently stroked the back of her hand. "I'm sorry. I can't speak loudly to him either. But I understand your pain." Luina thought to herself, how pitiful. That family has found a new toy to replace me. Emma said dejectedly, "I'm also constantly scolded by my mother-in-law for giving birth to a daughter. I have no one to share the troubles of child-rearing with." She paused. Child-rearing. She pretended to let it slip. "Ah, I'm sorry. You, Luina, don't have children yet." Luina gently brushed it off. "It's all right, actually. I'm also very interested in child-rearing, so I've been reading books on it recently. If you don't mind, you can confide in me any time in the future." She looked at Emma's bright smile that I know clearly the pain of being the target of that family every day. I hope listening can comfort her in some way. Uranos and Helios suddenly peeked in from outside. "Mama, you have a guest." Luina replied gently, "Yes, sorry for not letting you in the room." The boy replied happily, "It's okay, we just went exploring on the mountain behind the mansion." Helios rubbed his small belly. "I'm so hungry." Uranos looked down at the table and asked curiously, Is that chocolate?" She quickly stopped him. "You can't have that." Luina hurried over and picked up the box of chocolates. "I was so busy talking, I haven't eaten anything. This is chocolate from our guest, but it has alcohol in it." Uranos sighed in disappointment. "Is that so?" She gently reminded him, "It's also time for dinner. Let's go to the dining room." The boy ran off excitedly. "Okay, let's go quickly." Helios hurried to catch up. "Hey, wait for me, Uranos." She watched the two boys' backs and smiled faintly. Back on the quiet street, only a single carriage moved slowly along the road. Emma sat in the carriage, reminiscing with jealousy in her heart. A spacious mansion, a huge garden, luxurious clothes. You're living so happily, and yet she still plans to seduce Lord Nike. Unforgivable. Back at the Chronoa mansion, Luina was bringing a piece of chocolate to her lips. The next morning, a quiet morning at the Chronoa family mansion. Uranos and Helios came to her room. The boy asked, "Aren't you having breakfast, Mama?" Luina replied wearily, "I don't feel well. I wonder if I've caught a cold." Uranos obediently left, the boy waving goodbye. "We understand. Rest well and get better soon." She gave a small wave in return. Luina swayed, unable to stand steady. She thought to herself, "It's so cold. My hands and feet are freezing. No wonder I feel so tired." Suddenly, Luina was terrified, her eyes filled with extreme panic. Luina repeatedly pounded her chest. "What is this? My heart is burning like fire. Cold on the outside, hot on the inside. What on earth is happening?" Then, her mind began to grow hazy. "I'm so dizzy." Her vision gradually darkened, and Luina slowly lost consciousness. Uranos ran over happily. "Mama, I brought you some fruit. If you eat it." The boy saw her collapsed on the floor and was terrified. "Mama!" Uranos ran over worriedly and shook Luina. "Are you okay, Mama?" Hades was extremely anxious, his brow furrowed. "The cause is unknown." The attending doctor gave his diagnosis. "In any case, this is not a common illness. I cannot be certain of anything yet." In the room, Helios kept watch by her side. Outside the door, the doctor spoke to him in a low voice. "The madam may have been poisoned. Moreover, I believe this poison is accompanied by magic." Hades was surprised. "Poison with magic?" The doctor said urgently, "If you know anything, please tell me, so I can prepare an antidote as soon as possible. If we don't act in time, I'm afraid there isn't much time left." The conversation ended, and Hades walked hurriedly down the corridor. Uranos asked from behind, "Lord Hades, where are you going?" "What did the doctor say?" Hades asked grimly. "That female guest yesterday came alone, right?" The boy was taken aback. "Yes." He flared up, shouting, "Luina only met that one guest before dinner yesterday, right?" Uranos was terrified. The boy answered hesitantly, "Why, yes." Hades instructed Uranos, "I have some business to attend to. You stay by her side." The boy watched his retreating back in silence. Uranos said, "Lord Hades, please help us. Please save my mama." In the room, Helios remained by Luina's side. At the Persephone mansion, Nike yelled, "Get out!" he roared angrily. "What are you doing coming to the Persephone house alone? We have no desire to see you." Hades paid him no mind and asked, "Where is your wife?" Nike paused, thinking to himself, "You came looking for Emma?" Hades replied coldly, "I have something to ask her." Nike sneered, "Don't tell me you didn't vent enough anger last time, and now you're planning to seduce Emma." He lost his temper. Hades grabbed him tightly by his cravat. Nike was terrified. Hey, you bastard," he said through gritted teeth. "I have no intention of seducing your wife. I just want to ask her about the magical poison she used on Luina." He was stunned. Huh? Magical poison? Why would Emma do that? Hades said grimly, his words laced with clear urgency. "According to the doctor, there isn't much time left. You understand what that means, don't you?" Nike was scared. Emma does come from a family of mages. He was losing patience. Hades commanded, "Let me see your wife immediately." The sun was setting, and the garden was beautiful in the twilight glow. Hades walked hurriedly, while the girls around them gossiped. "My goodness, who is that?" Emma turned around curiously. He said, "You're the one who used magical poison on her, aren't you?" Hades was furious, but had a struggle to control himself. She feigned innocence, feigning ignorance. "Yes, my lord." "What do you mean?" He took a step forward. "We can discuss the details later. For now, tell me how to detoxify her." Emma still pretended not to admit it. "What are you talking about?" Her audacity pushed Hades' anger to its peak. He roared in fury, "Speak." The girls present watched the two in terror. Emma smiled sinisterly. "I'm very sorry, my lord, but there's nothing I can do anymore. Besides, isn't it already over? Because I used a magic that will cause her to die after one day." Hades was stunned. He froze. "One day, 24 hours. She laughed gleefully. "I cast the new moon curse on the chocolates. The moon is beautiful, but its surface is scorching hot, while its far side is bitterly cold. When that balance is lost, she will freeze to death. To break the curse, you must gather the power of moonlight into the nectar of a white flower, and then make her drink it." As soon as she finished, Emma suddenly laughed again. "But I'm sorry, my lord. With my abilities, that's impossible." That statement was like a direct slap to his face. Just as she was smiling triumphantly, Nike rushed over and punched Emma in the face, cursing, "How dare you do such things on your own accord? Why did you have to involve the Persephone family?" Emma touched her cheek and shouted resentfully, "I did it for you, Nike." He was confused. "For me?" Emma accused. "Mother wanted a grandson, but I only gave birth to a daughter. And you didn't want me to have a second child." Nike had once said, "The son must be born of Luina. That girl wants to return to this house. Shouldn't we give her a role too?" Everyone was stunned. They gossiped among themselves. Luina is to be the mother of Nike's child? How is that possible? They're brother and sister. Emma was gradually losing her sanity. "She's using you, Nike, to bear an heir and plans to take over this family, right?" Before she could finish, Hades interrupted her. "Wait. Luina is my wife. She will not be returning to that house." Here, his voice began to carry a warning. "And if you continue to act disrespectfully towards my wife, crossing the line as you did before, then even if you're my own brother, I cannot let it slide. I hope this absolutely never happens again." The girls present were very surprised. Lord Nike forced himself on Lady Luina? That's disgusting. What did he do? Nike awkwardly defended himself. It's not like that. Don't look at me like that. It's not like that." At this time, it was already dark at the Kronoa family mansion. Uranos was worried. "Lord Hades." The boy and Helios opened the door. "Please come in." He asked about the situation. "How is Luina?" Uranos replied, "Mama's hands are getting colder. I tried to warm them, but it was no use." Hades took Luina's hand. He frowned. Hades thought to himself, cold as ice. There's no time. He explained to the children. The cause was the chocolate. Uranos and Helios were both stunned. "The chocolate?" Hades asked. "Do you know when she ate the chocolate?" Luina was breathing with great difficulty. The boy answered, "It seemed to be before dinner. The lid was still open, and I saw there was a lot left in the box." He fell silent. If she ate it before dinner, it must have been 24 hours already. Hades held her hand tightly. Helios said in surprise, "Mama's hand is a little warmer." Uranos was happy. "Lord Hades is the best. You can cure her, right?" He replied softly, "No. I'm just transferring some magic to buy a little more time. I can't cure her completely." Hades' eyes drooped slightly. "We have to get the antidote." Hades was frantic. "Damn it, it's progressing too quickly," he muttered. "Gather the power of moonlight into the nectar of a white flower. That's level 3 magic. I can't let go of her hand now. We need someone else to find the antidote." He glanced at the two children, then Hades looked at them both, before turning back to her with a reluctant expression. He gave the order, Helios, you do it. The boy was surprised. And me? He said seriously, only you can do it. Hades' voice was filled with trust. You must save Luina. Helios trembled. I have to do it. Uranos tightly gripped the boy's hand. Helios was taken aback. Uranos! The boy's eyes were filled with determination. I'll help too. Uranos smiled brightly. If it's the two of us, then nothing is impossible. The boy seemed to be endowed with more strength. Helios gradually calmed down and replied, Yeah, let's save Mama together. Under the silent night sky, Hades instructed, gather the power of moonlight into the nectar of a white flower. He gently held her cold hand, but his eyes remained on the two children. That's level 3 magic. I can't let go of her hand now. Here, his voice was filled with urgency. Helios, you do it. Only you can do it. The boy remembered Hades' request. Helios was worried. Can I really do it? What if I fail? From a distance came Uranos' voice. Helios. The boy pointed into the distance. I'll gather from this direction, and you, Helios, gather from that direction. The boy replied as he turned and ran. I know. Uranos ran off. The boy pondered, but only white flowers. That is to say, you have to separate the calyx, then tilt the flower downwards to let the nectar dissolve in the night dew, and then collect it in a vial. Oh dear. Uranos stared at the vial. I've already picked 10 flowers, but I've only collected this little bit. Helios also said strangely, this is harder than I thought. Even so, the boy didn't give up. Anyway, we have to hurry. Helios listened. Yeah. The boy diligently searched for flowers. We have to quickly collect the nectar in the vial, and then... Suddenly, where Uranos was picking flowers, it grew dark. The boy looked up. The moon is covered. Helios panicked. Without moonlight, we can't prepare the antidote. Meanwhile, on Hades' side, he was watching over Luina by the bedside, asking her in a gentle voice tinged with heartache, Are you awake? She replied weakly, Hades' Luina was breathing with great difficulty and heaviness. He held her hand tightly. It's a bit difficult, but they're preparing the antidote now. Just hold on a little longer. Luina, she replied in a faint voice, Am I really going to die in the end, just like in the myth? Hades was a bit confused. Myth? He quickly said to her, No, you're not going to die. I've already said the antidote is being prepared. I won't let you die. She replied because that a year ago Luina gently raised her hand, lightly touching his fingers. If I don't make it, please take care of the two children, but not in this mansion. Hades didn't understand. She said, gasping for breath, no matter what, those two children must leave the Chronoa mansion. If not, then, before she could finish, Luina lost consciousness. He shouted in panic, What are you talking about, Luina? Helios held the potion vial high, letting the moonlight shine into the vial, gathering the power of the moonlight. No, there was no moonlight. Uranos was frantic. We barely managed to collect a small vial of nectar, but the moon is covered. What should we do? The boy was heartbroken. At this rate, we won't be able to make the medicine. Helios looked up at the sky. The boy prayed. The moon was just there. Please come out like you did then. If I close my eyes, maybe I can see it. If I could just hold on to the moonlight in my heart, that would be great. The moment he finished speaking, Helios's whole body began to glow. Uranos was blinded by the light and shouted, The boy was surprised. What is this? Thanks to Helios's concentration, the night sky, the boy remembered Hades' instructions. You use magic to gather the moonlight into the vial. If you do it right, a starry sky will appear in the vial. Helios looked at the potion vial. The boy was overjoyed. I did it. Uranos and Helios quickly ran back to the mansion. The boy shouted, The medicine is ready. Hades was stunned, too surprised to speak. Hades said, That was faster than I expected. Helios replied hesitantly, Yes, but actually the moon was covered by clouds, so it was impossible to collect any moonlight. Uranos handed him the potion vial. Even so, the moment Helios made a wish in his heart, the medicine was completed. Hades was still in shock, staring at the potion vial. Hades said in admiration, This medicine is thanks to Helios. He created it while thinking of the moon. He looked up at the boy. Hades was confused. I've never heard of collecting moonlight in one's mind. A magic that surpasses human limits. This child. Hades unconsciously looked at Luina, who was lying quietly on the bed. He said gently, Let me try giving it to her. Uranos was worried. Mama, I brought the medicine. Hades carefully and slowly poured the medicine into Luina's mouth. She writhed and coughed continuously. A drop of the medicine fell onto Luina's chest. Hades assessed the situation, muttering to himself, "She's too weak to drink it on her own." Uranos was very worried. The boy stood quietly by the bed. Helios clenched his fists, his gaze very firm and calm. Helios gently tugged on Uranos. The boy suggested, "This isn't enough. Let's go make some more." The other boy immediately obeyed. "Okay." Uranos and Helios hurried out. "We'll go again and be right back." The candle gradually burned down, with only a third remaining. The room was dark and quiet again. Hades gently lifted Luina and observed her. She's unconscious and has no strength now, but there's surely still time. Although the medicine wasn't made the right way, I don't know why, but I still believe it will work. As long as she can drink it. Uranos and Helios were running desperately. The two children glanced at each other, signaling to split up. The night was silent. Hades said, "Luina, the children are trying so hard to save you, so I'm begging you to wake up." He looked sadly at the unconscious Luina in his arms. Hades gently kissed the spot on her chest where the medicine had dropped. He transferred the spilled medicine to Luina with his mouth. Hades opened his eyes to look at her, but Luina still didn't wake up. He poured all the remaining medicine from the vial into his own mouth. Hades continued to feed her the medicine with his mouth again. He earnestly pleaded in silence, "Please come back. I can't let you die." Suddenly, Luina's hand twitched slightly. She slowly opened her eyes, little by little. Luina was currently in a dark, bottomless abyss. She tried to walk forward. "It's so cold, and it's still snowing. My mother also passed away on a cold winter day like this. Back then, I wanted my mother to get well soon, so I went to look for flowers, but all I saw was snow. All I knew how to do back then was cry." In that memory, she held her small hand. "Luina, it's so cold." "Thank you, Luina," she told herself. "I miss my mother's warm hand. So this time, I will protect the children. I must cherish those small hands." The children are standing near the border of death. To protect the children, I must change this fate. I will protect them both, because I can't rely on anyone. And now, there's no one left to warm my hand. But since when have I ever felt at ease holding someone else's hand? A very gentle hand. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Hades' face close to hers. Hades was somewhat surprised and paused. Luina looked at him with bright eyes. She weakly called out to the person before her, "You, Hades." He froze, speechless. Hades shouted loudly, "Helios, Uranos." He hurried over to announce, "Luina is awake. We don't need any more medicine. Let's go back." Helios and Uranos were stunned, both children frozen in place. Helios and Uranos looked at each other and smiled brightly. The two children hurried to Luina's side. Uranos shouted happily, "Mama, you're awake." The boy and Helios ran to her side happily. Luina replied dreamily, "Helios." The boy's face lit up. "I was worried there wasn't enough medicine, but it worked." Uranos smiled happily. "This must be thanks to Lord Hades. He kept transferring magic to Mama with that hand. Just like this." Luina gasped for breath. She weakly lifted her head. Luina thought to herself, "Lord Hades, my hand." Uranos was worried. "Mama," he said, "she's lost a lot of strength, but she'll recover quickly with some sleep." The boy was relieved. "That's a relief." Hades saw the two children out. He thought to himself, "I'm relieved. What a stroke of luck." Hades entered the room and closed the door. He looked at Luina lying on the bed. Hades said, "I'm sorry, because there was no other way to make you drink the medicine. I kissed you without permission. You were treated roughly by your brother in that house before, so you must have felt uncomfortable when I did that to you as well." Hearing these words, Luina slowly opened her eyes. She said softly, "But if it's Lord Hades kissing me, I don't hate it." Luina's words left him somewhat stunned. She continued to explain, "Because you are completely different from him." Hades paused, then turned towards Luina. He thought, "If that's the case, why did you reject me?" Hades gently stroked her head. "Tomorrow, when you wake up the next day." Luina had regained her strength. She looked out the window. "The weather is so nice today." Uranos ran over, the boy holding a basket of fruit. "Mama, there you are. Hurry, let's go to Lord Hades' room. You should go visit him too." Lord Hades must have fainted after using up all his magic to save Mom. As Luina followed Uranus to Hades' room, His voice rang out. That's right, don't just focus on your hands. Hades was instructing Helios. But you should also feel the wind outside. Magic is not something we create ourselves. It comes from the natural energy around us. Helios closed his eyes to feel it. When the boy opened his eyes, a flower appeared in his hand. Helios said happily, I did it. Uranus praised, Helios is the best. You like flowers, don't you? Hades said, it seems you're good at what you want to do. It's best to first practice controlling and getting familiar with the magic you're good at. Helios replied obediently, I understand. The boy politely handed him the flower. This flower is for you as a get-well gift. Helios ran off shyly. I'll be going now. The boy said shyly, thank you for saving my mom. Luina was surprised. Helios, your attitude towards Lord Hades has changed, hasn't it? Uranus smiled brightly. I brought some fruit. Which one does Lord Hades like? If you like apples, I'll have Mom peel them for you. Hades replied gently, among these, I prefer grapes. The boy smiled happily. Really? I like grapes the best too. Luina thought, so you like grapes. I didn't even know that. I married him without knowing anything about him, and then I left. The next day, Uranus asked worriedly, will Lord Hades be better tomorrow? It's hard to practice swordsmanship alone. He replied, I'll be fine by tomorrow. I'm sorry for breaking my promise to you. As an apology, is there anything you want? If you need anything other than a real sword, just say the word. Uranus's eyes lit up, and the boy replied, I want to see the sea. Hades was surprised. The sea? You probably didn't see it when you were in the neighboring country. The sea in Virgilio is very beautiful. I promise. I will take you. Luina's heart pounded, and she placed a hand on her chest to calm it. Hades noticed and looked up. He said gently to the boy, this bunch of grapes is for you. Share it with Helios. Uranus was delighted. Really? Can I have it? The boy took it happily. You must keep your promise to take me to the sea. I'm leaving now. Hades threw back the covers, got out of bed, and began to change. Luina asked worriedly, is it all right for you to get up like this? Hades replied, it's fine. He took her hand. I've mostly recovered. It's embarrassing to have fainted after using just that little bit of magic. Luina said shyly, don't say that. She couldn't look Hades in the eye. It's thanks to you, Lord Hades, that I woke up. Thank you so much. He cut her off and suggested, let's continue our conversation from yesterday. Luina didn't understand. She wondered about yesterday's matter. Hades expressed, I want to know why you and the children can't stay in this mansion. If there's a reason, please tell me. Luina avoided the question. There's no particular reason. He continued, and yesterday, you said you didn't feel uncomfortable when I kissed you, right? You meant that, didn't you? She shyly pulled her hand back. I didn't say that. Hades asked, you don't remember anything? Luina retorted, I do not. She blushed and cried out, you said before that I only tell lies, so you can't trust me. Hades gently caressed Luina's ear, is that so? But I don't think what you said last night was a lie. She turned her face away. I wasn't fully conscious then, so don't pay it any mind. He agreed, I know. Hades smiled faintly. It's just that to me, it was like a comfort, so I can't forget it. Luina thought, comfort? He's probably just saying that to ease his guilt for kissing me without permission. Hades continued, and you also said this. She said weakly, but please take care of the children. But not in this mansion. If not, Luina remembered. I did say that. He asked, can you tell me why? She was a bit embarrassed. Luina thought silently. Hades' eyes were sad as he asked, is it because the Kronoa family is cursed? He looked at Luina's shocked expression and continued, that curse is real. No one knows when it began, but it's been a long time. Any head of the Kronoa family who cannot produce an heir will go mad and die at the age of 30. We originally possessed extraordinary power in both swordsmanship and magic, so it's apparently too much for an ordinary person's body to bear. But the problem is, the curse doesn't just affect the head, but also the brothers in the family. It just goes on and on. Hades stated, however, I don't have any siblings, so I thought. If I died, the curse would end too. Luina looked at him with a bitter and shocked gaze. She shouted angrily, why did you accept that? Hades smiled faintly. The curse doesn't just affect the head of the family. If they don't die, the next person to die will be the wife who bore them a child. If they remarry, there will be more half-siblings. Outsiders wouldn't see anything strange. But in reality, they all survived by sacrificing their wives. They passed the curse on to their own children, just to be able to keep living. She pondered. Indeed, I used to find it strange. Despite possessing overwhelming magical power, leading the knight and mage orders, and even being praised for contributing more to the empire than the emperor, He wasn't called a hero, but the king of the underworld. It was because someone had to die with every marriage. Hades expressed his thoughts. If the Chronoa family weakens, the Empire's security will also be shaken. Even so, I never thought of sacrificing my wife for my own life. Luina was stunned, too surprised to say a word. Luina remembered the old Hades, who had coldly declared, "I have no intention of loving you either, so don't expect anything from me." She told herself, so that was the decision he had made back then. Hades avoided Luina's gaze. "After you left this mansion 7 years ago, I was worried, so I searched for you. When I found you hiding in a monastery in the neighboring country, I was relieved. That night, I thought there would be no children. I thought I would die on my 30th birthday, just as the curse foretold. At least you were alive. But then I lived past 30. I'm not sure why we both remained unharmed, though I can't say the curse has completely disappeared. But you are still alive, even after giving birth. Perhaps you're a special person too." Luina's hands clenched her dress. She lowered her head and said, "I've already told you, the children are not yours. Who knows if having a child was the condition to break the curse? Perhaps just being together that one night was enough to break it." Hades said heavily, "That's a possibility." He said gently, "In any case, this is still an unprecedented event. But if there's still something you're afraid of, then this time, I want to be the one by your side to help you overcome it. I will protect you and the children." Luina was moved. She deceived herself. Lord Hades is a responsible person. He feels the need to repay me because I helped him break the curse. A gentle person who would rather choose death than harm others. That's why I want him to live freely, without any constraints. Suddenly, a servant's voice rang out, interrupting the conversation. "Excuse me, master, you have a visitor. Lord Cornelia, from the neighboring country, is visiting." Adonis walked in, Lord Hades. The boy and Helios broke into happy smiles. "It's Lord Adonis." He beamed. "I'm glad everyone is well." Helios replied at once. "You too, Lord Adonis." The boy asked, "You've come to get us, right?" Uranus looked at the boy, puzzled, as Adonis explained. "This time, I came as the Emperor's envoy." Adonis continued, "I have some business at a nearby fortress tonight." He stated, "But because I missed you all, I stopped by here first." Luina was flustered. "I want to ask Lord Adonis about the myth." She wanted to ask him about that happy story he once told the children, and the true content recorded in the story. Luina wanted to confirm, "I want to determine if that story is related to the Chronoa family's curse. I want to know more about that curse." She thought, "I have to find a way to talk to him privately." Uranus was practicing swordsmanship, and Helios was practicing magic. Adonis's gaze was full of affection. "You're both studying so hard. I'm very proud." Both of their faces were beaming. Hades walked in, "Sorry to keep you waiting." He turned, "Duke Chronoa." Adonis asked, "I heard you were unwell." "I apologize for the sudden visit." He replied coldly, "I'm much better now, so you don't need to worry." He gave an awkward laugh. "That's good to hear." "Actually," Adonis said directly, "I came here because I want to borrow your power for negotiations at the royal palace. Can you come with me?" He couldn't help but be surprised. The royal palace? What happened? Adonis confirmed, "Yes. Can you spare some time?" "All right, let's go to the study." The boy proposed, "Can we meet after you're done talking?" Uranus pleaded, "Please come watch me practice swordsmanship." Helios added, "And watch me practice magic too." He patted both of their heads. "I'll definitely come and watch when I'm back from my business." Luina was flustered. "I haven't said anything yet, but it's not convenient to talk about myths or dreams here." He smiled brightly, "Then I'll see you later." Hearing this, she froze. Luina wondered, how did he know? She thought, Lord Adonis Cornelia, the lord of the neighboring country. He governs the land bordering Virgilio and serves as a diplomat. When I had trouble after giving birth to twin boys and could no longer stay at the monastery, he took us into his mansion and hired me as a maid. He picked up a cup and asked, "Luina, did you make this tea?" She was confused, yes. Adonis gasped in surprise. "How can it taste like this?" "I'm not exaggerating, but this aroma is completely different from any tea I've had." Luina explained, "I added some dried fruit to the tea leaves today. It's apple." He praised, "I see. It's really delicious. Thank you for making such a special cup of tea for me." Luina thought with admiration, a person who always smiles and never forgets to say thank you. Always gentle and fair, always chatting happily with everyone working in the mansion. Everyone loves Lord Adonis. For me, the time I spent living in Marquis Cornelia's mansion was like having a happy family for the first time. A place full of smiles and endless gratitude. Luina walked with a heavy heart. Myths and curses. If it's Lord Adonis, maybe he'll tell me everything he knows. Even if he doesn't know, he will listen to me. Her eyes held a hint of sadness, the complete opposite of the quiet Lord Hades. Luina reflected, but I never try to understand him either. I don't know what Lord Hades likes. She hadn't expected it, nor did she know what he was thinking. I never thought of sacrificing my wife for my own life. Luina was confused. There are clearly some truths I don't know. She asked, "That's the tea for the guest, right?" Luina offered, "Let me take it over." She made up her mind. From now on, I want to know the whole truth, so. Hades asked, "What are the negotiations you're planning at the royal palace about? Who are you planning to meet?" He was flustered, and Adonis explained, "Actually, the Empire's princess is hesitant about marrying into our country's royal family." Hearing this, he was stunned. "The princess?" Adonis asked, "Duke Cronoa, you've frequented the royal palace since you were a child, so you're close with the princess, right?" He said clearly, "I've heard that you two are so close you know everything about each other." Adonis pleaded, "Please help us." He took his time savoring it. "It's been a long time since I've had Luina's fruit tea." Adonis praised, "It's delicious no matter when I drink it. Did you put berries in it today? I'm so happy to be able to drink it after so long." He said mockingly, "The Duke gets to enjoy this every day. I'm so envious." Hades stated, "I don't usually dine or have tea with others." He was confused. "Really?" Luina froze. I'm sorry." She interrupted, "But I have something I'd like to ask Lord Adonis. Could you spare a moment?" Adonis smiled slightly. He asked, "It's about the story I gave the children, right?" Adonis seized the opportunity. "Since Duke Cronoa is also here, I'll talk about it now." Adonis explained, "Because he's involved too." He was stunned. "Involved?" Luina guessed, as I thought. That myth is related to the Cronoa family's curse. He frowned in confusion and looked up. Adonis confirmed, "Yes." The room was filled with luxurious furniture. She took out a notebook. "Is it this story?" Hades opened it and looked closely. He explained, "Regarding the Virgilio myth, I believe that story is the one that begins the tale of the Cronoa family. The story in the book is as follows. Humans lived on the ground, and dragons flew in the sky. A human who was fascinated by dragons became the king of the land. But his wife died. Afterwards, the twins fought each other for the throne. In the end, only one was left to rule. When twins fight, only one can survive." Adonis explained, "Usually, myths are created to pass on knowledge and culture. And the message that can be drawn from this story is that power must be concentrated in one place. That way, the empire can be stable. Perhaps that is its meaning." He changed his demeanor. "However, this is not just a myth." Adonis said with certainty, "And that curse is real. That's what I believe." He stated, "In fact, members of our family have all died in inexplicable ways. This is an undeniable truth. However, according to the legends passed down in the family, if the head of the family has no children by the age of 30, that person will die. And if they do have a child, this time it will be the person's wife who dies." Hades watched intently. "But if there are twins, then the two children will become each other's enemies. This is the first I've heard of it." He asked doubtfully, "Why do you have this story?" Adonis gave a strange smile and explained, "Actually, in the past, a woman from the Cornelia family married into the Cronoa family and bore their child. This story was one of the items returned after her death. After her death, Adonis confided, as a child, before reading this story, I happened to find her mother's diary. In that diary, there was only a sadness that lasted for decades. Nothing but the pain of losing her daughter. That left a deep impression on me. It would be too heartbreaking if this sort of thing kept happening." Adonis stated, "Duke Cronoa, the fact that you are both still alive can be considered a miracle." When they heard this, she and Hades looked at each other blankly. "Thank you for surviving and allowing me to witness this miracle in my lifetime. It makes me feel very grateful." In the brilliant sunset, a white carriage moved quietly. Luina stood watching him leave. "Lord Adonis's words have given me strength." She thought, "I've come to understand a little about the curse myself." Luina turned around. "I won't hesitate to cooperate." He waved goodbye. "When we get back from the royal palace, we'll continue talking about the things we haven't finished." Luina thought, "Things might turn out differently. And once I understand the curse of the twins, then Lord Hades will surely agree to a divorce." Thus, she began to scheme. Luina suddenly froze in shock. "I've never seen this carriage before." It was stopped in front of the mansion. Caris commanded loudly, "Hey, call Hades out." Luina's eyes widened in surprise. She put her hands on her hips and proposed, "Well, hurry up and call Hades out." She couldn't help but be surprised. "I didn't expect Princess Caris to come here in person." A voice came from the castle. The princess is not here. The butler reported the news. Since the princess only brought a few guards, I don't think there will be any security issues, and I also don't know where she went. Adonis said, I came here today because the audience was scheduled for this time. He bowed deeply. I'm very sorry, Lord Cornelia, just as you said. After hearing this, Adonis and he looked at each other in confusion. I'm afraid the princess deliberately scheduled the audience early so she could leave easily without being stopped. An awkward expression appeared on his face. Very awkward. Adonis made a decision. Perhaps I'll just have to come back tomorrow. He stroked his chin, pondering. The marriage must have been fully arranged, so why would she run away now? Adonis looked at him and thought. The Duke of Cronoa doesn't know his old friend very well. He replied, well, she's always been a rather free-spirited person. Hades voiced his thoughts. Even so, whatever the reason, she must have her own reasons. The castle at night was both majestic and mysterious. Hades said hesitantly, so, the first princess of the Virgilio Empire, Caris. She asked, when will Hades be back? She replied respectfully, I don't know. I'm very sorry. Luina's face was clearly embarrassed. Caris then comforted her. It's all right. How would a servant know? I'm not going to interrogate you, so don't worry too much. Hearing this, she was stunned. Yes, a person who isn't arrogant. Luina voiced her feelings. In that case, I'll take my leave. She doesn't seem like a bad person, but she's still royalty. My body feels like it wants to run away from here. I don't know how to act. Uranus shouted happily, Mom. The boy was stunned. Luina turned around at the sound, Mom. What should I do? Letting the children run around so freely in the mansion must be considered improper. Caris praised. How cute. She asked excitedly, are you two twins? Uranus asked curiously, who are you? She couldn't help but panic. Uranus. She introduced herself. I'm Caris. I'm waiting for Hades. Uranus continued to ask, are you a friend of Lord Hades? Majestic footsteps. He turned and stated, Caris. Princess Caris is a person with a clear will of her own. Since she had agreed to the marriage, I thought it was a well-considered decision. His eyes clearly showed confusion. I thought so too. What on earth happened to the princess? Why is it so noisy all of a sudden? His eyes clearly showed calculation. If things were normal, it would be dinner time now. Uranus's eyes widened in excitement. Ah, Lord Hades. When he saw Caris, he froze. She ran over and grabbed his hand. What a surprise. I haven't been here in so long, and you were out. Caris said happily, thanks to the maid and the twins chatting with me. It wasn't too boring. Her hand was holding Hades's tightly. Hades immediately pulled his hand back, but why are you here? Please explain in detail. She smiled brightly. Because a troublesome guest was coming, so I ran away to here. It's a secret. Besides, I have something I want to discuss with Hades. Caris could only give a wry smile, the Cornelia envoy. He questioned, Miss Caris, may I ask why you ran away from that troublesome guest? Caris couldn't help but feel confused. Ran away? The two children were curious. Is Lord Adonis also a friend of Caris? He quickly explained, I'm sorry, you must be surprised. I didn't expect the princess to be here either. Luina smiled faintly. Yes, it's all right. Looking deeply into Adonis's eyes, he was clearly thinking. You've known the princess for a long time, right? And I heard you two are so close you know everything about each other. She pulled Adonis's hand. Actually, I have something to say. Caris immediately announced to everyone, I plan to marry Hades. So I will no longer be in a political marriage with your country. Adonis was stunned. Huh? He said loudly, Caris, I'm already married. She was shocked. What? But Caris then replied mockingly, your wife has been sick and staying in a neighboring country, and she doesn't even have children. She suggested, then you could just get a divorce. Luina began to think, getting a divorce and leaving the mansion is what I've always wanted. But why do I feel sad hearing someone else say it? She unconsciously turned to look at Luina. If it's Luina, then that's the name of Hades' wife. In front of them was a magnificent castle. 25 years ago, the Virgilio Empire's royal palace. An innocent voice said, hello, why don't you go play over there? The brown-haired boy said, there are lots of snacks over there. The girl with the red ribbon shouted hastily, hey, what are you doing? Come here quickly. The girl with the red ribbon said clearly, that's Hades of the Cronoa family. He's cursed. The girl with the red ribbon warned, it's dangerous. Don't play with him. Suddenly a voice rang out. What curse? So childish. I can't believe everyone is so afraid of you. Hades glanced in the direction of the voice. Caris felt a sense of kinship. We're so alike. She started to complain. Everyone tells me not to be disrespectful to the princess. So everyone treats me like a nuisance to be avoided. It's so boring. Isn't that a form of disrespect too? Caris proposed, "Hey, do you want to play with me?" He thought, "Play what?" For example, we could taste all the fruits in the garden and pick the most delicious one. Or climb the tallest tree together, yes. Or we could turn over the biggest rock and count how many worms there are. Hades replied coldly, "I don't want to. I only read books." Her eyes widened in surprise. What? She laughed excitedly. "This is the first time someone has said no to me." "Good. No matter what you say." She was a princess, and he was Hades from the Cronoa family, which was believed to bring misfortune. We were both ostracized by our peers, so whenever the adults met at the palace, we would play together. Although Caris could be by herself, she didn't hate the time she spent with Hades at all. Caris was always the one to fall in love first, and he was Caris's first friend. She comforted herself. It's just a coincidence of the same name. It can't be. Hades' wife could be Lunia? She had heard her father talk about it before. Hades has already agreed to inherit the throne. Although the people have long wished for it, you were just helping out until the prince grew up, right? But now, Adonis couldn't help but be surprised. Inherit the throne? Is it true? Duke Cronoa. Hades nodded in confirmation. Yes. His Majesty suddenly proposed it, so I accepted. Her eyes couldn't hide her thoughts. Being a royal in Virgilio isn't very fun, so I thought it would be more interesting to be a queen in a neighboring country. Caris broke into a brilliant smile. But if Hades becomes the emperor, that's a different story. Luina kept praising her. She is so honest and dazzling, a person who is always true to her desires. She suddenly paused. Desires, huh? Luina thought, my desire is to raise my children to be healthy and happy. That's why I left the Cronoa family, to live a life free from the constraints of the Cronoa family. I used to live a life where no one really needed me, so I wanted to become someone who could help others. I really wanted to be important to someone. He introduced loudly, Caris, this is Luina, my wife. Luina looked up at him in confusion. Hades expressed his thoughts. I know what you're thinking, but it's rude to comment on someone else's marriage so freely. She challenged him. So what? But don't you find it strange? A princess like me visits, and she, as the lady of the mansion, doesn't come to greet me. She continued sarcastically. It's also strange that she didn't report the birth of a child to the emperor. And what I find most unusual is that she's not wearing a ring. Caris's eyes widened. Something is definitely wrong. Helios stammered, we weren't born in this mansion. Her eyes widened in surprise. What? Helios clarified. We only came to this mansion this month because Mr. Hades said he wanted to marry our mom. Caris couldn't help but feel confused. What? Really? The little boy confirmed. Yes. She patted Hades' shoulder. A fake marriage, right? You never wanted to get married. You hastily arranged this farce for the sake of inheritance, didn't you? He flew into a rage and shouted, Caris, Hades. Caris reached out and caressed his cheek. You've been enduring everything from the very beginning. But it's okay, because I'm going to solve everything for you now. Adonis followed behind her. Duke Cronoa. It seems the princess is serious. He reminded him, and it seems you haven't told Luina yet. Caris couldn't help but be curious about the real reason you came to get her. You no longer need to do something like a sham marriage for the sake of succession. Oh, by the way, everyone, please be sure to attend the National Foundation Day party next week. Father plans to announce that he is passing the throne to Hades at the party, and then let's make a firm decision on the matter. Her expression darkened. Princess Caris was a decisive person who spoke her mind. Luina tilted the kettle, intending to pour water, but it was already empty. Even if I don't have any grand dreams, if I had one wish, I would just want to love someone and be needed by someone, just like when my mother was by my side. The children helped me realize that dream. Now I want to protect them, and that is everything to me. Luina suddenly stopped in her tracks, her eyes widening as she saw a familiar figure. Then she called out, Uranus. What's wrong? Mom was just heading to the kitchen. If you can't sleep, I'll warm some milk for you. Uranus voiced his worry. The sea. We can still go, right? She looked confused. Uranus said sadly, if Lord Hades and Miss Caris get married, we won't be able to go to the sea anymore. The little boy repeated Hades' words. The Sea of Virgilio is very beautiful. I promise to take you there. Luina immediately became flustered. I think Lord Hades will keep that promise. Luina proposed a plan. If he doesn't keep his promise, then I will go and petition the Lord. Hearing this, the little boy seemed stunned. Uranus called out softly, Mom. She knelt down and hugged Uranus tightly. I'm sorry. I made you worry. Don't hold it in. Tell me what you want, and I'll make sure to make it happen for you. Uranus replied happily. Amichim, every day is fun, so I feel very happy. She casually recalled, my mom used to say the same thing. Having the children by my side every day, I'm also very happy. This is already more than enough happiness." The two said in unison. Then Mom, good night. Luina smiled happily. That fact alone was enough. She recalled Hades's words. "She is my wife, Luina." Back then, to be honest, I was very happy. I was chosen to be Lord Hades's wife due to the church's oracle, and moreover, we were just using each other. The most suitable person for the Empress's throne, which he needs to become emperor, is Princess Caris. But why did I feel happy when he called me his wife? The silhouette of an approaching person appeared. He walked in, calling softly Luina. She turned around, her eyes filled with tears. Hades was surprised and immediately asked, "Why are you crying?" Seeing Hades, she became flustered. "I don't know why this is happening." He looked confused, not knowing what was going on. Luina hastily tried to leave. "Let me pass. I want to return to my room." He reached out his hand to stop Luina. "I've already said it. I will protect you. If anything is making you uncomfortable, just say it." She voiced her hidden feelings. "I'm so despicable. I was born into that kind of family, so I understand what it feels like to be used as a tool. Even so, I was moved by your resolve, but because of my pride, I deceived you." Luina recalled the image of him clutching his clothes in pain. Her tears streamed down endlessly. "I don't want to continue using you anymore. I don't want to be your burden either." He looked back, confused. A burden? Luina continued to pour her heart out. "If you really care about me and the children, then we can stay in touch even if I return to the neighboring country. You don't have to take responsibility for a wife and children you didn't choose." Hades hesitated, unsure how to comfort her. "It's not like that. Since I am your husband, it's only natural for me to be responsible. However, I accepted that a long time ago. You don't have to worry about that kind of loss." Luina couldn't help but wonder, "Then why can't you accept it?" She recalled their wedding day. Luina voiced her thoughts. "Actually, Princess Caris is the most suitable person for the position of Empress, and you no longer have any reason to keep me as your wife." Obvious confusion flickered in Hades's eyes. "A reason?" He recalled Adonis's words. "It seems you still haven't told Luina the real reason you brought her back." Luina refused. "Then I will take my leave." He stood frozen, at a loss for what to do. Hades gripped her hand tightly. "Wait." Luina's cheeks slowly began to flush. He searched for a reason to make Luina stay. "If there is a reason, will you stay here?" Awkwardness was written all over Luina's face. He wasn't holding on too tightly, but made my heart skip a beat. I couldn't shake his hand off. Hades's gaze seemed to plead for her to stay, as he requested with sincerity, "Whatever it takes, please just wait a little longer. I will find a reason to persuade you to stay." Luina's mind was in turmoil. This is the first time I've ever seen such an expression on Lord Hades's face. "I've troubled him again. I don't want to trouble you, but I want you to forget everything we've been through and live the life you've always desired." Luina pulled her hand away. He couldn't believe what was happening. That kind of life, the life Hades had always longed for. He never thought he was being used by her, nor did he ever consider her a burden. Just a single look, yet it hid so many things. Hades reproached himself internally. On the contrary, if anyone's a burden, it's probably me. Luina stared at him with wide eyes. Her breath suddenly hitched. Luina abruptly slumped to the floor, her gaze empty. "I'm sorry for losing my composure like that." Hades suddenly knelt before her. He picked up Luina's shawl. Was it frightening? He confessed his hidden feelings. "The life you mentioned, a life I've always dreamed of, because I have lived my life believing I would die at the age of 30. So when I survived past 30, I only felt bewildered, not joy or aspiration. I have never imagined a life lived for myself. I was just carrying out the missions I was given. But one day I suddenly had a thought, that if you were still here, perhaps you would decorate this place with flowers. If I were to plant flowers in the abandoned garden, perhaps you and the children would be very happy here. I've thought about that. That scene, that is my reason to continue living.